All right, so everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David Baruch Hashem. We're going to continue our lessons in Likutey Halachos Baruch Hashem with Kadosh Baruch Hu's help and Siyata D'Shmaya. We're in Hilchos Tefillin, Halacha Hey. We're Milah Mem Aleph, and we were up to V'zeh Bechinas HaTetura Shel Tefillin, Hu Bechinas Gesher. Okay, we're learning about this interesting concept. So we discussed a lot about the top of the boxes, right, and the fact that the box, the yad has to go towards the heart, and the shin and the four compartments and the parchias. But now Rav Nosson switching is going to teach us now. We're learning now about the tata, the bottom, the cover of the tefillin. Interesting, right? No one ever thinks about that. No one. Right? It's interesting, right? It doesn't even get painted, right? It stays natural, right? Right? It's not supposed to be painted, right? And we have the mabarta. We talked about the mabarta, where the little bridge, where the little tunnel where the ritzua goes through, right? So we said that is the shehu bechinas gesher. Ki ikar gesher la'avra kol la'avra olav b'zeh olam hu emes. The main thing to get through anything in this world, you have to have truth. If you work with truth, you can pass through anything. What's the truth to know? It's all Hashem. Whatever's going on in life, it's all because it's Hashem. It's not because of anything else, and the answer it always lies with Hashem. That's the real truth. Everyone has to go. This is the famous song. We did this. We're just going to review this again today. Everyone has to pass through this world on the narrow bridge. The world is a narrow bridge, right? But the main thing is, don't be scared. Just walk with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Don't be afraid. Yeah, it's you're walking on eggshells. It's a narrow bridge. You may fall, but you're with Hashem. That's through the gesher of the tefillin. That's through the bridge of the tefillin. Shein bechinas emes, which is emes. The bridge of tefillin is emes. Kamei shamrim ha'olam she'im emes yecholim la'avra kol ha'olam. With truth, you can pass through everything. And therefore, if you have your tefillin, and the tefillin help us understand that, to keep us connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that erech hapayim, and we know it's all me'ez Hashem, and we have that tefillin, so then we can mamish pass through anything. And that's why it's so important. We wear a tefillin every day, because we need that reinforcement each day. You said the inoculation, right? Every day you need that. You need that every day to get that, and because we go through all different things during the day. Right, and the tefillin really help us. And we said yesterday that it's very interesting that the parshias go into the tefillin. We tie them tight. They're closed up really tight. They even make them today so nice you can't even really tell that there's a bottom cover. Right, the way they finish them today. Right, and they sand them so nice, and you can't really even see it. But it's very interesting. And why is it so closed so well? Because the light of the tefillin, the parshias, is so bright. So we want them to stay inside, but through the bottom, I would say that's why it's not painted, it's not closed, it's natural. So it can filter through. It can filter through the bottom to come into us, into our mind, into our heart, into the mind and into the heart. We put it on our head. That's what touches us, right? We only touch that part of the tefillin, right? The other part it's there, but doesn't really come in contact with us. So it was just something to think about. Do you like that idea?
I like it a lot.
Oh, very good. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Ki hu ha'emes ki chaysamai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu emes. We know that this is the first thing we learned in Chumash, right? That the chaysim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is emes, right? That's his signature. Hashem's signature is emes. Isn't that so nice? Oh wow. Okay. Uvoi. Nechtemu shemayim v'aretz, and with that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he signed. He puts his signature on shemayim v'aretz. Amazing, right? With emes. K'may shekasa Bereshis bara Elikim Seifei Teves Emes. Right? Everyone, this is very fun. This is very fundamental, right? Okay, very basic. And again, we said yesterday, if you look at the letters of Emes, right, you see the Aleph. He stands very strong. He has 2 feet to him, right? He stands very strong. Look at the Mem, how he has a flat bottom. He stands strong. And look at the Tuf. He has 2 feet. He can stand strong too. And when it comes to Sheker, the Shin stands, like we said, like a V, right? So he can tip over.
Dafka in Ashkenaz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Sephardi's it has a flat bottom.
Oh, really?
So, but it's Dafka Ashkenaz Sephardi. It works perfectly. So
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, okay. So, okay. Even if you want to say in Sfat, so could the Shin? So the Shin will stand, right? The Shin will stand, but the Kuf will fall, right? And that'll fall, and the Reish will fall. So either way. Okay, and I'll tell you this, because they say within every sheker there's an emes. Oh, there you go. There's a little emes in every lie. So there you go. So there's your Shin. Okay.
Yeah.
So it works. We made it work with both sides. Okay.
Exactly right.
Okay, there we go. And that's how the whole world stands. And everything in the world stands with this truth of knowing that it's all Hashem, it's His signature, and it's all Me'ez Hashem. Oh, wow. This is a very, very packed line, right? Look what he says. And all the confusion. Right, all that confusion, umanias, and all those obstacles. Sheyesh la'adam me'avodas Hashem. Right, we have all different obstacles. Right, obstacles. Most of the obstacles are really within us. Right, we feel we can't do that because again, it's the koyach hamedameh. Right, we imagine we can't do this. We imagine we can't do that. Right, it's all part of the imagination. But then that's part of all the bilbulim. Right. That's all part of all that confusion. Why do we have that confusion? Again, because we see things, we get involved in things, and it kind of guides us. It's a very interesting idea, right? It's a very, very interesting idea. I saw something that, it says, V'lo yisasuru acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem. Really, shouldn't it have been written the other way around? Shouldn't it really have been written that right? Because your eyes see, and then your heart will desire, right? Why is it that the heart desires, then the eyes will see? It's an interesting idea. Interesting. So it's a very interesting idea. So there's really to understand that is sometimes many people could look at the same thing, right? So many people can look at the same thing and they see different things within what they're seeing, based on what their heart desires. So the eyes will see what the heart tells it to see. They're looking at it, we're both looking, we can both be looking at the same exact thing. And you'll see something else. There's an example that someone gave, that there was once a Rav, and he wanted to prove this point. So he said to the Chevra, it's the clock on the wall. Who made that clock? What brand is the clock? They said, they don't know. One guy says, I know it's a Boulevard clock, right? Whatever, I'm just whatever it was. How did he know? Oh, he's in the clock business. He's in the clock business, so it was interesting to him. Right. So he saw that. Right. They asked for Moshe Feinstein when he was, he had his yeshiva in the lower east side of Manhattan, right? So some interesting stores opened up, not such nice stores opened up in the area. Yeah. So they asked the Rosh Yeshiva, how does that affect you? How does that? He says, what stores?
He doesn't see them.
What stores are you talking about? Again, it's what your heart desires is what the eyes will see. So if you're looking for that stuff, then the eyes will see it. If you're not looking for it, then the eyes will see something else that you want to see. Isn't that an interesting idea? Okay, all right. So that's part of our bilbulim that we have with our avodas Hashem. It's all part of what the heart and the eye and all that. Because again, are we looking to see the emes? See, that's what the thing is. So if the heart is desiring the emes, that's why the tefillin have to go against the heart, right? The tefillin go against the heart, so that way the heart understands the emes, and the heart will guide the eyes to see the emes in each thing that you're looking at. Isn't that an interesting idea? Okay. Because the main thing comes from the mind. It's all a bilbul in the mind. It's all a confusion in our mind, right? We are our own. We are our own worst enemies, right? It's sad. It's sad, but when we're learning what it is, so we know how to deal with it. We're learning how to deal with it. Look, use the tefillin to know the truth that it's the emes, right? Like we said, Bereshis bara Elokim seifei teves is emes, right? That's the first words of the Torah, right? And if I understand this, I know it's really all Hashem. That's regarding the creation of the world, right? That's why Rashi says, right? The first Rashi, Rabbi Yitzchak, right? Is why did Hashem start? If the Torah is a what do you call it? A law book, right? Right? Teaches us the laws of how to live. Why are we starting with a story? So to teach us that Hashem created the world, He made lands, He gave lands to people, and He decides to take them away, give them to other people. Yeah, there you go, right? First thing in the Torah, to understand that, right? It's all in the Mayach. And the main way to go through them is through emes, through the truth of it, knowing it's all Hashem. Shu derech la'adam la'avar al hakol. And you can get through anything when you realize whatever you're dealing with it, and it was sent to you. That specific thing that you're dealing with, that you find that's a problem, where you may find that this is a big problem that a person is dealing with, a big challenge, right? And when he just looks at the challenge, and he's not understanding where did this challenge come from? What's this challenge supposed to do for me? How's it supposed to help me? When I can do that, then I can really pass through it when I understand it. And perhaps that's the way to get rid of the problem. When you recognize Hashem only sent you this problem because He's trying to help you because of something that you may have done wrong. And He's trying to help you with it. So He sends you this. So again, instead of us complaining and instead of us, being angry at Hashem, right? That's what a lot of people do. Right? They get angry at Hashem. Why did you say? What is this, Hashem? What are you doing? Right? They get angry. But if you understand the emes, that really everything Hashem is doing it for our good, and He's trying to help us. So that's a whole different way to look at things, right? Shlach orcha v'amitcha hema yan chuni, right? What? Yeah, yan chuni. Okay. Right, because the emes with anything can help a person to go through. In other words, it's really all about the light and the truth. Right? David HaMelech, he was constantly requesting from Hashem that he should go in the way of emes. That was what David HaMelech was looking for. Ki emes hu geshed the kedusha, because emes is the bridge, is the entrance, is the opening to all of kedusha. Bechinas ma shenema beYaakov shehu bechinas haemes. Yaakov Avinu, we just said it right in davening. Yaakov Avinu titin emes liYaakov, right? Titin emes liYaakov. What do you mean emes liYaakov? Because Yaakov Avinu understood how to see things. He understood it. Right, even you see with Yaakov Avinu, even when Yosef HaTzadik was sold, he wasn't going to be consoled because he understood there's something going on here. It can't be what they're telling me. It can't be. He saw the emes. He knew there was a different emes. It wasn't what they were telling him. He saw the Titan emes liYaakov, right? He had the emes. He wasn't going to be consoled, and he understood that Hashem's not going to do it. It's fascinating. Yaakov Avinu, also atzmai kigesha, like we said, me'avei hayabak, right? We learned that yesterday. Yaakov Avinu made himself like that bridge, and he was able to cross over. His whole family crossed over using him as the bridge. His family, his flock, right? All of his wealth, all of his everything passed over. Right? It was a water, the yabak, right? It was a water. How did they pass through? It's a deep water. So Yaakov Avinu, Rashi says that the Yaakov Avinu made himself kegesher, like he made himself into a bridge. right? And we said the Mavra Yabuk, right? That was the thing that we learned about. That's the Ritzuist, and that's from the Mebarta, right? The Mebarta, when I understand that it's all Me'ez Hashem, and I have that Erech HaPayim, I stop, think, and I remember, right? Like Uncle Moishi's famous song, right? Stop, think, remember, right? Right? So, right? No, it's all one Torah. It works, right? Right? When I stop thinking, I remember, what is this? What's going on? Then that's the way we can get through it. Okay. Yaakov also atzmai ki gesher lahatzil es kol asher loy mipachad alayla. Right? Everything he had. He worked for 21 years, right? He worked so hard for everything to build his family. Right? He worked to get his flock. Right? He had that whole contraption, right? He had the speckled and the striped. I mean, fascinating things, right? What the Zayah has to say on that's fascinating. Mamish fascinating what Yaakov Avinu did. But he had everything there. And Esav is coming after him. It was the biggest dilemma anyone can have. Right? You have your whole family. You have everything. You have all your possessions. He's traveling with everything he owns. Right? And he knows Esav is coming after him with 400 men. Could you imagine that? No, I can't. We can't. Could you imagine? I mean, think about it. I mean, 400 armed men, and he had, women and kids. What what did he have? He had women and children. They were young children. They were young men. They weren't, he didn't have warriors. Although Shimon and Levi, they were. Right?
Avram rescued the Lord also with 400 men, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a big contingent, armed contingent.
Yeah,
You know the history of 400 men.
Yeah. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. Avram Avinu. Wow, Avram Avinu. Wow. Okay. Umipachdai shel Esav shehalach likrosei, because Esav was coming to greet him. Oy, shekol zehu bechinas klalius hapechodim vayisurim v'amanias. That's really for us. That's really for us. All of the different things that we're afraid of, right? And all of the problems, and people have there's so much anxiety today, right? People are so anxious. Why? We have everything so good today, much better than any time ever had it. But we were discussing yesterday this idea that even poverty today, it does not compare to poverty 200 years ago. But when people 200 years ago, they had mamish nothing. When they were poor, they had nothing.
Well, you can see it. You can go to Ethiopia also.
Yeah.
You can go to India also and see people when they say dirt poor, like dirt poor. You earn
today
$15 a year. Yeah, if you're lucky.
$15 a year.
If you're lucky. And you live on. I mean, it's when you go there, you can see it, and you can see it next to tremendous wealth, and then people right next door are just living in. You can't even believe the poverty.
Wow, even today
it exists. We live in a bubble.
But most of the world is not like that. Would you say?
I don't know what portion it is, but our portion of the world is not like that for sure. We have no concept of what it is.
No concept, right? Even like today, here in Eretz Yisrael, right? There's so many different organizations and so many different groups that help people. Everyone has something. It's unbelievable. Even like a poor person today would have been a wealthy person 200 years ago, right? What we have, right? Right. In every poor person's house today, they have a stove. Wow. They have running water?
Running water,
clean running water?
Yeah.
Wealth. Right?
A toilet.
Kingston.
No idea.
Kingston have that, right? Unbelievable what we have from HaKadosh Baruch Hu today. Sheyesh l'adam mikol hasoinim v'hama'akovim. Right, all of the things that are trying to be ma'akiv him to prevent, right? Shemeslabish behem hayetzar. The yetzar is really behind all of this, trying to be mebalbal the person from his avodas Hashem, to try to confuse us that we can't stay focused on what our goals are in life. That's all he's trying to do. Shu bechinas Esav kayadua. That's all kayadua, right? Everyone knows that, right? I love where Rav Nosson writes that. I love that. Kayadu, yeah, everyone knows that. Asa, that's Asa. Right, so that's why he's using the example with Yaakov Avinu was being greeted with the 400 men, right? And who are they? Asa, right? So that's really connected to us, and then maybe that's why we keep talking about in davening this idea every morning. Titin emes leYaakov, Chesed laAvram, right? Why do we keep have to say that, right? Because these are the concepts. Maybe we can understand. These are the concepts. We have to understand the emes. Yaakov Avinu was able to use emes to understand it's all Hashem. And he was able to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's how he was able to pass through everything in life. Yaakov simin lebanim, and therefore Yaakov gave a hint to his children, right? That he made himself like this bridge. She'ef shelavar al kol hapechodim ha'ela. You can't pass through. You can't be successful with all of these fearful things. Kim al yedei emes. You need to have the need of emes. You need to work with emes, and that's what he taught his children. Yaakov Avinu was working so desperately to teach this to his children. Shu bechinas Yaakov also atzmai kegesher. Shu bechinas to Torah shel tefillin. This is the bottom part of the tefillin that's connected to the mabarta, right? That's connected to mabarta, and that was like the bridge. That was like the bridge is using that you could pass through. Use that to pass through. So every time you look at your tefillin, you're putting them away. You can see that it's a nice thing to understand. This is like that geshet tzar meyoid, right? And there's no rails on the end of it, right? There's no rails, right? It's just a bridge, right? And there's no rails, but if you know it's all Hashem, that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. A person can pass through this world. Kol yamav kemei chayav. And that's the main thing, and that's such a beautiful concept right there. I mean, that's just a lesson by itself, right? This is just a lesson by itself to understand this concept that really don't be fearful of things. Yeah, you're going to have difficult challenges, but remember, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is designing each one of those challenges meticulously, with everything. It's almost like, if you ever saw they were making a movie or a play, right? So behind the scenes they're doing all of those things, right? All of those things, they're learning their lines and they're doing that, right? It's so much stuff going on. When you watch the play, you don't see that, right? If they did a good job, right? If they did a good job, everything runs so nicely, right? But that's really us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's doing the play behind the scenes. Everyone that comes in and each one says their thing and they say their part. That's really what's going on. Why does Hashem teach us these things? That there's a play, they have movie sets and all of that. Why do we need all of that? Why do we really need? What can we learn from it? Because that's really what Hashem is doing. He's designing everything in our life. So we're sitting there. We're in our life. We're watching HaKadosh Baruch Hu's play of our life, right? But we're the surprise actor. We don't know that. We come in, we don't know our role, so we just have to figure it out. So how do you figure it out, and how are you always successful? By understanding what your goal is, and you understand what the director, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the director, right? So you understand what the director is looking for, right? The director is looking for emes. Know the emes. So if you find the emes, you'll be successful in the play, right? It's something to think of. It's a little silly, but
Rabbi Rieti says we're going to see a movie of our lives when we get to the eternal side of things.
Yeah. That's for sure. Well, Chazal say that, and they didn't ever people then for thousands of years. No one understood what does that mean. Well, how do you know what I did over here? No. But now we understand it, right? Right, there could be a camera in this room that's recording everything, right? And anywhere you go, right, in all street corners there's cameras, right? So we understand it. So it's not a big deal.
Oh, it's funny because GPS, when it came out, it says, "Oh, now I get how Hashem can keep track of all of us." Because if a GPS can keep track of all of us, certainly Hashem can. No, it's like it has something connected to.
Yeah. Well, Yonah taught us that, right? He tried to hide from Hashem,
Uh-huh.
and Hashem had the GPS on him, right? But we learned that from him, right? Yeah. Okay.
I learned it from GPS.
Okay. No, but the story, he was
yeah.
trying to run away,
Yeah.
and then the whale swallowed him, and he was thinking, wow, what am I doing in here?
And he had a bracelet, GPS bracelet.
Yeah. The ankle bracelet, right? Okay, v'zeh b'chinas kriyas yamsa. Now this is the idea. Okay, so again we're talking about water, right? Me'avra yabak. We're talking about a gesher tzar miyoid. So now let's talk about kriyas. So there's another way you can get through the water, right? There's another way you can get through the water without a bridge, right? If you split the water, right? If you split the water, you can get through without a bridge, right? Okay, Yaakov Avinu didn't do that. He used the gesher. Right, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when He wanted to make us go through, He could have made us a beautiful bridge too, right? What would have been the big deal, right? Hashem could have made a bridge, and then the bridge could have fell down, right? With the Egyptians on it, right? We came across, and the bridge would have fell. It would have worked also, right? Could have worked that way, right? Okay, but Hashem decided He's going to split Kriyas Yam. So Shehafech Yam LaYabosha Ad Shekofu Tohoimos B'Leiv Yam. Until the walls of the water, the walls, mamish, became like stone. The water became something. It was unbelievable. V'asalehem Hashem Yisbarach b'neis nifla b'chinas gesher la'ava. Hayam b'sholem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made this idea, right? This thing that we'll be able to pass. He made a different kind of a bridge, right? He made a kind of bridge that the water went away, right? Fascinating, right?
And dried the land.
He dried the land. We had a nice marble, right? The Medrash says that there was like a nice finished marble, polished, nice, cool, nice, delightful, right? And we had water springs along the way, right? The walls had springs. We were able to drink. It was nice.
Okay.
It was very, very nice. The Yamsuf became very beautiful. It was like luxurious. Right? We have marble floors, right? Beautiful marble
I
floors.
didn't know that about marble floors.
Yeah. Look at the Medrash, yeah. Ba'kol hoya al yedei b'chinas Yaakov shu b'chinas emes. And all this started out with Yaakov because he was able to pass through the water, right? He was able to pass through the water with his family. And that was that was the beginning of crossing waters, right? Crossing of waters. And then we know there was B'schus Yosef at Tzaddik, right? Aroinei Shel Yosef, right? What did the Yamsuf see that it split? It saw the Aron of Yosef, right? Who was Yosef? Yosef at Tzaddik was Yaakov Avinu's son, right? Yaakov Avinu taught Yosef this idea of emes, right? He taught him this idea of emes. Unbelievable. I mean, look at the difference between Yosef. Look at the difference between Yosef and look at the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu. Let's think for a second, okay? I'm going to give you something to think about, right? So Yosef at Tzaddik goes down to Mitzrayim, and what's he doing? He's telling everybody he's an Ivri, right? He's an Ivri. He's a Jew. He's not like them, right? He tells everybody that, right? What happened when Moshe Rabbeinu was walking? Came to Midian. He came to Yisrael, and they saw him. And he moved the rock, whatever he did over there, right? That was a beautiful miracle, right? He did. And they came back and they said, what did they say about Moshe Rabbeinu? Ish Mitzri. Right? They said Moshe Rabbeinu was an Ish Mitzri, right? Mm-hmm. Ish Mitzri. He was an Egyptian. But Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say, hey, no, I'm a Jew. He went with it.
Yeah.
Moshe Rabbeinu went with it. Some of the Mepharshim say that was really Moshe Rabbeinu's mistake right there. That was Moshe Rabbeinu's mistake that he wasn't able to identify with the Jewish people outside of the land of Israel, and that's why he wasn't able to come into the land of Israel. You hear this? Where Yosef at Tzaddik was outside of the land of Israel, but he identified with the Jewish people. He identified with the land of Israel. I came from Israel, so his Aaron comes to Israel.
Nar Ivri.
Nar Ivri, right? He's in Nar Ivri, right? Interesting idea, right?
Yeah.
And he knew about that before the Torah was given.
Yeah.
So Moshe should have.
Again, I'm just
Maybe.
things
Yeah.
things to think about. Based on what the Torah says, he's a Nar Ivri, and he says an Ish Mitzri. Right? Well, Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu he came from Mitzrayim. He was wearing the garments of whatever Egyptians wore, I guess, at that time. Right? The same way you wear a uniform, you know what the person does, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu was wearing that kind of a suit or whatever, however I don't know what they wore, I don't know, right? Whatever he was wearing, they identified him as an Ish Mitzri. Where Moshe Rabbeinu could have said, I'm wearing the clothes of a Mitzri, but I'm a Yehudi, right? He could, whatever, okay? Something just to think about, okay? But Yaakov Avinu teaches Yosef HaTzadik, and he teaches them emes. Know the truth, be proud of the truth, be proud of who you are. Don't worry about it, just do what you have to do. K'may shekosav malacha yom kisanos. Right? What did the Yamsuf see that it ran, that it split? So we know there was a Rone Shel Yosef, Milifnei Elekei Yaakov, in front of the God of Yaakov. What was that? Emes. The Yamsuf saw the Emes with the Aron of Yosef. The Yamsuf saw the Emes, and it had to split. Unreal. Is that amazing to understand it? Why is it say Milifnei Elekei Yaakov? Why Elekei Yaakov? Because Yaakov Avinu is Emes. Now it makes sense, right? When you say that, when you're saying the Hallel, he say Milifnei Elekei Yaakov. Right? When we say that, then we understand why it means Elekei Yaakov, right? Shu bechinas Emes, that's Emes. Ki Emes hu bechinas geshesh al yoda yecholim la'ava afilu be'emsa hayam. You could be mamish in the middle of the sea. You could be mamish in the sea of the world, right? All of the turmoil and the turbulence of the world, everything. But you can find the truth. You could know the truth no matter what you're dealing with. Bechinas koyamar bayracha Yaakov. This is This is the Navi Yeshaya said, right? Koyamar bayracha Yaakov. This is what the creator of Yaakov said. Al tira, don't be afraid. Kisava b'mayim itcha ani. Because as you go through the water, I'm there with you. I'm going to be with you. Don't worry about it. I'm with you. Wow. Shu bechinas emes. Shaydei zeh, through this, al tira kisava b'mayim. You'll pass through the mayim. You could pass through anything. You can be saved with peace, tranquility. Because you can have that tranquility if you understand it's all from Hashem. No matter what is going on. No matter what is going on in life, if you understand that Hashem set this situation up for you, for the Jewish people, for us to understand, to learn from it, to get together, that's an amazing idea. That's an amazing idea, right? It was an amazing thing, right? They said the other night on Tuba, they went to Shechem, they went to Kever Yosef, right? It was a whole group, right? Did you hear that? Did you hear about that, Sasha?
Every Rosh Chodesh.
I understand. No, they went Tuba.
Tuba. Yeah.
They went Tuba. There was a big. There were thousands of people went, not a little group. Mm-hmm. Usually on Rosh Chodesh they go a little bus, right? A little group. It's a few hundred people, right? It's not a lot of people that go everywhere. This was a big thing, and you had ministers that went along too. It was a big thing. And what they tried to say, they were saying like this. So first of all, they were mispalo for the 6 people that were shot in Ma'ale Adumim. They should all have a refuah. Beautiful Yidden. Wow. These monsters, unbelievable.
Where is Joseph's?
In Shechem.
Where is Shechem?
Up in Shomron.
In the Shomron?
Shechem, yeah.
I don't have a picture of it.
Well, you look on the map. You'll take out the map. Yeah. You'll take a look. You'll see. It's not how long would it take us to ride here? About 45 minutes, an hour? Yeah. It's not that far. Yeah. It's not
Nothing
that far.
is far in this country.
No, not that far. When I was in New York, I want to ride to Manhattan. It takes 2 hours. It's only 9 miles, but it takes 2 hours. But over here, you ride. It's unbelievable. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Right. Crazy place. Mamish, anywhere you want to go, you just have to sit. Just have to sit. and they're big highways. They're not, they're big highways. Each highway has 5 lanes,
And big bridges.
Big bridges with 4 or 5 lanes on each side. It's not, and they still sit. And there's no rhyme or reason for the traffic. That's what I love about it, You go over there, here, okay, we have the Pekak, right? They're trying to merge into, right? Over there, all of a sudden they all move up, but there's nothing going on. You ever see that? Were ever in a situation like that? Right? Everyone was crawling along, and all of a sudden it opens up.
Happens every morning.
But there's no one there.
Yeah, I know.
Why did it stop? All right, anyway.
Question.
What?
It's a good question.
Yeah, okay. No, but that's all, again, to have time to have a little bizbaitis, right? Time to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Okay. Again, you have to see, these are the things, like you sit in these things, I was thinking about it, right? Wow, this is amazing. Okay. Okay, v'zeh bechinas b'yoyim hashlishi lebria, Amar Hashem Yisbarach, Yikovu amayim mitachas hashemayim, el mokaim echa v'teiroi ha'abasha. Right? So it was Yom Hashlishi. Right? It was on the 3rd day. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a separation between the upper waters and the lower waters, and then that's how we were able to have dry land. That's what Hashem did, right? He did that on day 3. So what's the big deal? So he did it on day 3. What's the difference? What, does it make a difference to us? Well, yeah, because the days of the week go with the spheres, right? We know that, right? Right? Sunday is Yom Rishon is Chesed, Yom Sheni is Gevura, Yom Shlishi is Tferes, Yom Revi is Netzach, right? Chamishi is Hoid, Shishi Yom Shi, right? Friday is Yisoid, and Shabbos is Malchus, right? It goes with the spheres, right? That's why Sunday is usually, not here in Eretz Yisrael, but most of the time Sunday is like a relaxed day, right? Because it's a day of Chesed, right? Mondays are always, they say manic Monday, right? Mondays are always a turmoil, right? Because you had people around the world, they were off on Shabbos, they were off on Sunday. I got to go to work now, right? That's Monday, right? So that's Gevura, right? Tuesday, people have it's Tferes. Right, that's the balance between the Chesed and the Gvura. Right, so people are okay with it, right? And then Wednesday is what they call it, Hump Day.
Over the hump, yeah.
Right. Wednesday, I get to the Wednesday. Oh, that's I'm going to pay. That's Netzach, right? Netzach. I'm going to be victorious. I can do this. And then thank God it's Thursday. Oh wow! And then Friday. Oh. And then they have the weekend, right? That's how. Okay, that's Malchus. Ki Yom Shlishi hu bechinas Yaakov kayadua. Yom Shlishi is Yaakov Avinu. How is Yaakov Avinu? Because Yaakov Avinu is the Midah of Tferes. Right? Like when we do the Shpizin on Sukkot, right? Mm-hmm. Right? We have the different guests we invite in the Sukkah, right? So we invite in on day 3, we invite in Yaakov Avinu, right? Why day 3 is Yaakov Avinu? Because he's Tferes. Right? Okay. Shu Bechinas Emes. Shu Bechinas Gesher. That's the idea of the Gesher Shal Yodai Oivrim B'Soich Kol Hamayim Hashoitfim V'Nitzol Mikulam, and a person can be saved from everything. Mamish through this idea. Shazel Bechinas Hayabosha Shenase B'Shas Bria Habria Be'emsa Hamayim. Right in the midst of the water, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a separation. He made a separation on day 3. He made a separation. So the same way he made Kriyas Yamsuf, right? And he split the Yamsuf, and he made a separation. But Hashem already did that before. That's not something new. He made a separation between the upper waters and the lower waters, right? So that wasn't a new thing, right? Ain't Chiddush Tachas Hashemesh, right? Hashem already did that in creation. It was already done. It wasn't anything new. Shu b'chinas gesher b'chlolius ha'olam shenasa b'yom shlishi. That's the idea of the Gesher on Yom Shlishi, because again, it's through Yaakov Avinu, Titin Emes LeYaakov, Emes. If you have the Emes, which you learn from the Tefillin, right? The Tefillin, the Tator of the Tefillin, the Mabarta of the Tefillin, Daikeshu Bechinas Yaakov Bechinas Emes, Ki Ikra Gesher La'aver Olav, Kol Olam Hu Emes, is through the truth. Shazeh Bechinas Tetorah Shel Tefillin, this is the idea of the Torah of Tefillin. This is the idea of the bottom, the cover of the tefillin. So again, this is what's so fascinating over here is Rav Nosson is really teaching us really about every aspect of the tefillin, right? He taught us about how we work the leather, right? He taught us, let's just go over a few things, right? He taught us how it was important to work the leather, right? Why is it that tefillin have to be made from a hide? Right, we said that really tefillin is such a precious thing. Let's make it out of precious metal, right? Baruch was here yesterday. He says he deals in precious metals, right? So why we could have contracted him to get some precious metal and make the tefillin out of titanium, or make it out of maybe gold or silver, right? Hey, make it nice, right? Shine them up, right? Polish them, right? No, Hashem says no. Make it out of this clump of hide, right? It stinks, right? Mamish, it stinks, right? It stinks. It's not even nice to touch, right? It's not nice to deal with when it's in its raw state, right?
Dead skin.
Yeah, but it's like a gooey. It's nothing. Yeah, no, right. So we learned that that's us, that we have to work on ourselves, right? We have to work on ourselves, and we have to make ourselves into something special, something great. But when you work on the tefillin, and you work on it, and you make it nice, and you mold it, and you use the right chemicals to get rid of the odors, right? You get rid of the odors of the leather, and then it's something so beautiful, right? When you look at the beautiful tefillin, could you tell what it was? Not at all, right?
Close. That came from a cow.
No, you can't tell. You can't tell at all, right? But look, it could have been just a few weeks ago. It takes about 3-4 weeks to make the mold. That's all it is.
And where'd the cloth come from? The paper, like.
That's the part. That's the hide also.
It's awesome.
All the hide. That's all the hide, and they work.
Torah in there.
Yeah. Same thing. Everything.
It's true.
Everything comes from the animal. That's what we learned. We said stam. Remember we learned stam, Sefer Torah, mezuzahs, and tefillin. Right, stam. Right, that's stams. Right.
The Torah is so beautiful. You're looking at it. I look at every.
Yeah, when you get your aliyah, right, Cohen, right, you get your.
All the lines and the type and
it's beautiful, right?
Beautiful.
Right, the letters are so pristine, they're so gorgeous, right? And the parchment is so beautiful. But really, what was it? That's us. That's us, right? We just have to work on ourselves to make us so.
That's
make
our
us.
potential.
Exactly. That's what we have to take from that, right? Right, and I'm just only bringing that now because we were talking about the tata of the tefillin, which really is in its raw state still. It didn't get the fanfare of the rest of the tefillin, right? So I'm not to show you, hey, that's very important also. Don't discount that. Don't discount that. That's also very, very important. That's your gesher. That's what's connected to you. That's what's connected to us, right? We put that. It sits on our arm. Right, it sits on our head. That's the part that sits on our arm, sits on our head. We have to remember that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to remember that. It's fascinating, really, when you study these ideas, right? And then we learned about the mabarta. Why does there have to be this mabarta? So most people tell you, well, they have to figure out a way to get the strap to hold to the box, right? They didn't want to staple it to the box or something, right? So they had to do something. So they made a little. No, but we're learning that's the bridge. That's the bridge to pass through life, right? The chesed and the gevurah, right? It goes through one side, the right and the left of the mabarta, right? And I can get through it. I can get through life, and we can be successful. And again, the way to do that is through Yaakov Avinu. Through Yaakov Avinu, if we do it, we understand it's only the emes. We have to always see the emes in everything that we do. Any situation we find ourselves, we find the emes, we connect to the emes, and via doing that, we can always find the Rebbeinu. So in the same way you work on the cloth, and you make it into something so beautiful, just by working on, knowing that you have a goal, right? When they start working on the cloth, right? So the batemacher, the guy that makes the boxes, he has a goal. He knows he has a plan. He has a plan. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to make this into this box, and this is going to be for the yad, so it's going to have only one compartment. Oh, and then the roast is going to have 4 compartments, right? He has a plan. He has a vision. He knows what it's going to look like. He knows what he wants to do. He has a vision. So when we have the vision in our minds, of what I want my day to look like each day, what I want my week to look like, what I want my Shabbos to look like, what I want my Rosh Chodesh, what I want my Yom Tov to look like, when I have a vision, so then I can get somewhere. I need to have that vision. You understand? The same way making the box, he has to have a vision of what he's doing. And then he can produce this beautiful box. So too we, if we have a vision, we can also be successful. And how do you do that? By always going through the emes. Okay, any questions? No, we'll stop over here then. We're good? Okay, shkoyach everybody.